The Dallas Cowboys are actually fucking pathetic. So much to the point that it's not even funny. This game may be the worst loss that the Cowboys faced in the playoffs in the last 10 seasons. This is a team that was ranked number 1 in the league in offense and a top 5 defense in the NFL throughout the regular season, but they got mollywopped by a lesser Packers team in the wild card. Time in and time out, they have embarrassed themselves in the biggest stages, especially for Dak Prescott. We have seen so many times ever since his rookie year that this man folded under pressure and cost his team games, and the Packers game pretty much is the last straw for this brother. But anyways, I'm finna discuss what is next for the Cowboys. What are the big time changes that the Cowboys are going to make going into the offseason coming up next. Hey man, say man. This is the A-Man Show, back at it again for more content. Y'all know what to do. Make sure y'all subscribe. I post NBA and NFL content. Turn on post notifications so you don't miss anything new from me. Anyways, stay tuned and let's get it. The Cowboys finished the regular season by winning their division with a third consecutive 12-5 record. Dak Prescott had the best season of his career after totaling for over 4,500 yards, 36 TDs, while lowering his picks total with 9, while also completing 70% of his passes. Him, along with CD Lamb, who had a breakout year and established himself as a top 3 wideout in the game, an elite O-line, and on the defensive side of the ball, you got your guy in Micah Parsons, alongside Deron Bland and Stephon Gilmore. The Cowboys defense had the capability to shut down any other offense in the league, and with Dak's MVP level season, they had everybody convinced that they can compete for a Super Bowl, despite having a shitty away record of 3-5. Well, it's not the fucking case against the Packers, a team that was not even expected to make the playoffs, but they have overachieved. Just by the Packers making the wild card after Aaron Rodgers' departure is their greatest achievement of the season. And the Packers smacking the Cowboys at their home field, a team that won their division and has the team to truly compete for a Super Bowl, is saying a lot. I want to give a shout out to the Green Bay Packers, specifically Jordan Love. Love, in just his first year starting, has already established himself as a top 10 QB in this game, especially how well he played against the second-seeded Cowboys. The Packers also have a very promising young receiving core with Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, all these guys, along with their defense. The Packers are going to be a problem for the Lions going into the foreseeable future. But let's go back to the Cowboys. This is the last straw for this team in regards of Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy. Let's start with Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott, with this absolutely embarrassing loss, may be his last game as a Dallas Cowboy, because this man simply cannot show up in the biggest stages, and in fact, the man gets worse, especially against the likes of the Packers and the 49ers. In his entire career, the guy is 2-5 in postseason action. His 2 playoff wins was against a Seahawks team in 2018 that they barely won, a team that is led by Russell Wilson and a mid defense, and a Bucks team with a old wash Brady along with a lackluster offense. So those playoff wins really aren't that impressive. Against the likes of a 49ers and the Packers, boy, he gets embarrassed. This Packers game in particular, how this defense, especially being ranked among the top 5 in the league, plays so heinous. They can't stop the run nor pass. Deron Bland, Stephon Gilmore, all these guys are getting burnt, and most importantly, the defense cannot tackle. Offensively speaking, Dak Prescott threw 2 picks in the first half, 1 return for a pick 6. Dak looked scared and timid and at times forgetting to play football. In just his first half, 86 yards with 1 TD. Although he will pick it up in the second half, but by then it was too late. Dak Prescott is not a Super Bowl level QB, and we gave him so many chances for him to prove himself. But the guy keep on coming up short, and I don't even know if Jerry Jones would want to sign him to this massive deal going to the offseason, despite him having an MVP level season. Just because you have that great of a season doesn't mean that you can sign him to a deal that makes him the highest paid Cowboy in franchise history. This guy has stinked it up in the playoffs, especially this game, and honestly, I think it's time to cut ties with Prescott. There's a need for change in this franchise. They can't keep allowing the same thing over and over again, season by season. Dak needs to go. He's not the guy, and they need to go for another QB. maybe groom Trey Lance or go for a QB in free agency or trade for one. They need to make sure that they get rid of Dak Prescott. And for Mike McCarthy, it just seems that he did not prepare his team for this wildcard game. The offense looked very lackadaisical, they looked scared, and the same thing goes with Dan Quinn. Both of these coaches didn't make any adjustments throughout the game. I mean, these coaches literally were primed to lose this game. And guess what? They got smacked by a lower-seeded Packers team. At this point, Mike McCarthy is simply not the coach for this team. I always had concern regarding Mike McCarthy's ability to manage the game clock. His play calls are also been a concern with me, especially with making calls that are based on his emotions, which leads to very stupid play calls. And also, he's very lazy, which is the reason why the Cowboys are very undisciplined. This game right here is a nail in the coffin. Mike McCarthy should be out as head coach going into the offseason, and the Cowboys should pursue guys such as Ben Johnson, Jim Harbaugh, Mike Vrabel. But then again, the Cowboys are owned by none other than Jerry Jones, a guy that really don't care about the success of this team, and his ego regarding constructing this team and this coaching staff will always be a concern. As long as he lives, he will always be a stench that the franchise can't put out. I pray for a miracle of where Jerry Jones put his ego aside and have someone be the GM. That is something that he needs to think about going to the offseason. If anything, he should have been thinking about that in the first place. I don't even know what to say about the Dallas Cowboys. They are truly cursed. I can't believe that people fell victim to the fact that the Cowboys were a different team than years past. Turns out, many people feel very, very stupid believing that the Cowboys are going to make the Super Bowl. Get this. The Texans have more playoff wins than the Cowboys since 2002, which is their inaugural season. The Texans having more playoff wins than the Cowboys. I'm just so disgusted with this team. There has to be a overhaul going to the offseason. I'm expecting big changes in this roster. And yeah, like I said, the Dallas Cowboys are fucking pathetic. The epitome of misery. And that's the vid. Let me know your thoughts on the Cowboys' performance. Is Dak Prescott out? Is Mike McCarthy out? Like I said, let me know, and make sure y'all subscribe for more NBA and NFL content. Turn on post notifications, and that is all. Stay litty. This is the A-Man Show. Sign out.